1, 2, 3. Harold and Brad, Windy City Filmmakers. Harold and Brad, Windy City Filmmakers. Harold and Brad. Da, 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 da.
Yeah, right. We know, well, along those lines, like, I guess a similar question, being a writer, what are some of the similarities between developing a character as a writer and getting into a character as an actor? Are there similarities, overlaps there from your perspective as well?
Sometimes, yeah. I think that certain characters resonate in a way that are so personal that you can't help but get emotionally attached. But the thing with being an actor is those lines are set for the most part, unless you're really working with a new work where things change all the time.
Right.
So you have the opportunity to just create that character and go through all the, like, figure out your moment before and all of your quirks and everything. But when you're writing, sometimes you have to kill scenes that you love so much because they just don't fit anymore.
Right.
Or kill characters completely out of your show. So I feel like you're more of a puppet master when you're a writer, and when you're an actor, you are in it.
So have you taken this knowledge and went and teach children, or are sharing your wealth of knowledge? What are you doing on that front?
I do. I work at Actors Training Center, which is out of Wilmette, but everything is online at this point. And I also am I'm a coach, a private coach. I work not only with my agency, a lot of their clients, but with anybody in the city who wants to work with me. My specialties, I think, are comedy, but I definitely love to coach actors. I just love it. I really do. I love when I see the light bulb happen, and when they push through whatever wall they've built up. And it's so weird because we're doing everything on self-tapes, and it feels foreign. And so to be able to get that performance off of a phone, there's nothing better.
You know, and you're good at it. I think I saw something, I forgot what it was, before the pandemic started shutting stuff down. I think you were doing like a Facebook Live or something. I tuned in, and you were just kind of dropping some gems. So how much has things changed up the way you approach acting? How much has it changed up in the face of the pandemic, doing things virtually than maybe doing things in person? Like, what type of things do you work on with actors?
Keeping myself positive in a career that may or may not continue is hard when you're teaching people, because none of us know we're going to go back. So just to be like, this is a great career to do. Let me help you. And maintaining that kind of energy, that positive energy when you're doing something virtually and they can see your face the entire time rather than like standing behind someone in a class and watching them work. There's fatigue. But on the flip side, I prefer coaching, unless it's for theater, virtually. Because then I can see your frame. I can see where your eye lines are going so that I know place by where you're looking and who you're talking to. So it's actually, and I also can read my side along with you and see you rather than looking down if we were in person. So for coaching, it actually is a benefit.
So let me ask you this too. Let's talk about working, because I do the same thing. This is my virtual classroom here. What I'm saying is, I can feel the emotion from the performance here on screen, on Zoom when say the student is doing a monologue. And so I'm saying it's radiating through the screen, just like as if it was on television in a sense. And so I just said that to say this and ask this. I wrote a short script, and one of the instructors, potential producers, reading a little short 10-page thing that I've written. I had this people on Zoom conference meeting thing, and he says one of his notes was like, it'd be more powerful if more emotional if the actors could be in the same room. And so I thought about it. I was like, I could do that. But then I thought a second time, like, oh, we're dealing with the pandemic, and I may want to shoot this sooner than later. And this is the safest, and probably why I wrote it in the first place. And I think from me working with the students, I can feel the emotion, even the connection. You know, we put the camera and set it up and say, okay, now you ready? Action, give. You know, it can still radiate.
I believe that that's absolutely true. I mean, when we are performing on stage, we have to show pretty much everything because we're performing, especially if it's in a big house, because you're performing to the rafters. Your energy needs to hit across the street outside. It needs to radiate all the way out there, right? But we don't really get to see a lot of the facial expressions or the minutia that goes along with like finding the character having those really vulnerable moments that you can only see when it's a close-up. So we have to show everything. When we come and we transfer it to television and film, everything's much more intimate. So if you think it, we can see it. And if you're having that kind of an emotional reaction or something's resonating from the other characters, then yeah, they'll be in it and reacting and active listening, and you'll be able to see all of it. So I think it's awesome to do things through this medium. Why not? And
yeah, and in the film, instead of bringing everyone into the same room, just have them in their Zoom rooms and still have that same connection. It can be done where we can capture that real back and forth, you know.
I think so too.
It's come up a couple of times, listening. How important is listening to acting? How important is it to listen?
All right, well, first of all, I think you should film what you've written. So do that right now, immediately. Don't wait, okay? I just wanted to finish and close off that. Because why wait? This is our normal. So do it.
Just do it!
Listening is the most important thing about acting. If you're not listening, you're not in it. You're not alive, then you're a robot. That's it. Anybody who says they're not listening, and you can tell. You can tell because if you throw something at them and there's no reaction, you're like, oh, you're a robot.
Right.
and two things are happening. I found out. Two things are happening in that instance. First of all, you're not trusting the other people on stage.
Right.
You're just not letting go enough to be able to trust that they're going to catch you if you fall.
Yes.
Or two, you're not trusting yourself with your lines and so all you're thinking is of your lines and you're just waiting for my line. And that's that old joke, noise, my line, noise.
Right.
If you're not listening, you might respond to something that they didn't give you. And then that's not fun to watch.
Have you been in a scene where the other actor wasn't listening or they weren't quite up to par for the part that they were cast in and you had to work around it? And talk about working around it.
Oh, well, yeah. If you're acting out and if you have earnest believability and you're right there and you're giving everything and all of your intentions and your time to the other person, you could really act with The Rock. I mean, honestly, if you're in it, but like I've had a couple of people who this is the same thing as not listening, who don't look you in the eye when you're on stage with them. And I have been that person that has moved my head over to get their eye contact because if you can't look me in the eye, then where are we? So I'll just move my head over a little bit and catch them in the eye and be like, no, you can't run. You can't run from me. We got to do this together.
Right.
Listening is the most important thing as an actor.
I love that. That's one thing I love that listening and being in the moment. It kind of reminded me, we were doing a show a couple of years ago, Superior Donuts. And so it was a fun show. And it was a part where we were all backstage, and I think Rich and somebody else was on stage. You know, you backstage, you just kind of doing things, and you kind of on automatic pilot. Then something happened on stage. It was a big pause, and everybody looked up. Okay, what happened? Right? Because you could tell something happened, and everybody looked up. And even though I wasn't on stage, I could tell that Rich responded in the moment and got the scene back on track. And what had happened was that there were a bunch of fake donuts on the set, and one of the actors picked up the donuts and ate one of the donuts that was covered in all type of glue and stuff, right? And so that was their pause, and it got everybody's attention. But it's so funny because to your point, it's moments like that that really, I think, at times, if you find yourself an automatic pilot, it's really whoosh, that really increases the focus. Like those beautiful, unexpected moments where somebody drops a line or something drops on stage that just really keeps the performance alive. Not that you want that to happen all the time, but it really helps show us how important listening is and trying to be in the moment is.
It reminds us how important silence is on stage as well.
Oh, yeah.
We forget that we don't always have to be on the stage, you know? You don't want to rush through moments of discoveries. And how can you have a discovery if you're just trucking on through without checking in on how your partner is reacting to you? You know, whether they roll their eyes or they're giving you, you know, a nod or whatever it is, those are internal discoveries that because it's supposed to be the first time that you're saying it. Right? So everybody out there, even though we know it, it's the first, every day that we do this, it's the first time. So yeah, it's hard not to go on autopilot, but that's the joy of being an actor. You get to go out there and do your thing. It's awesome. It's a fun job.
Yeah. Brad, we had started acting troupe back with 25 other actors back in 98. Then I got involved in this blues play back in October 98. And we rehearsed all summer. We ended up doing it in the bar over here in Bronzeville, 47th Street. And we were supposed to do 2 nights. And we had so much fun that October 2nd and 3rd, Friday, Saturday night, that we was like, let's just keep going. 171 shows later, I was like, I'm done. Okay, I gotta stop now.
171 shows.
Like, now I'm finished. I've done enough. That's awesome.
So fun, yeah. It was a blues musical, interacting with the audience.
Great.
And we were drinking beer too, for real, you know, in the bar.
Weren't the 90s fun? Weren't the 90s fun? Yeah, we did that with tomfoolery. We would have a guest bartender every single time because you couldn't sell, because you could do the suggested donation. Yeah, I have a 1-2-3. So we had a bar there, and we would have guest bartenders every single show and just sing Tom Lehrer and be all, you know, snarky to the audience. It was super fun. Oh, I loved the 90s, late 90s in Chicago.
Yeah. Ah! Do you ever judge your characters? Do you ever judge them?
Like, what do you mean?
Like
in the moment?
They're bad or something.
Like when you're reading them, like, do I like this person? Don't like this person?
No, if I'm offended by something that I read before I audition, then I sit and I figure out why.
Right.
If it's putting the mirror up onto something, then I take it. If it's something that's offending me personally, where it's about me, like if it's something that's offensive to me, where it's not for any other reason than to be offensive, then I usually, then I might judge it. But for the most part, I feel like any character that you do, I mean, I did Assassins twice, and you know, our goal is to have you love us by the time you leave.
Right.
And be questioning why you love Assassins. Because they're not good people. But, you know, that's the whole point of the show. The whole point of the show is just like, oh, Sarah J. Moore's funny. Right. Wait a minute, she tried to kill, what? we shouldn't like her, but you do. So is that your question?
Yeah.
It's an awesome experience and exercise too, you know.
Oh, it's super fun to play people that you hate.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of funny. It reminded me of I did Jesus Had the A Train at the rave a number of years ago.
Yes, I saw it. I saw you.
You saw that show?
And I remember the first time when I read the script, and then I was reading it, I don't know about Lucius. And then when it gets to the part, the play's 1,000 years old, so not to give it away. But when he talks about how he killed this little boy, it's like, you know what? I don't like Lucius, right? And it was kind of weird making that admittance as Brad Stevens, the actor. I felt it made it easier to get into his skin because now it's like that 10,000 pound elephant, whatever that was in the room. I'm no longer ignoring it, my true feelings, and it made it easier to get into the skin. Yep. And I find that too, that it's fun playing characters that if I was in an elevator with them in real life, I would be incredibly uncomfortable. But then finding those areas where you may be alike, because a lot of times, I think a lot of times most characters are thinking, I'm a real asshole. Maybe they are, but a lot of times they're going through their life. We may see them as an asshole, but it's kind of like every character is like the hero of their own story, no matter how jacked up you think their story may be. Right.
But you have empathy, and that's what makes you a good actor. Yeah. If you can empathize, then you're not a sociopath, right? And so if you're playing a sociopath, then you can still play it with your empathy. Oh my God, yeah. And that's what makes it fun. I mean, I had to play the devil in a musical called Me, the Devil, and Other Friends, and that Backstage Theater did many, many years ago. And we took it to Fringe too in New York. And there's a scene where I'm singing a song about the demise of this other person, and then I go over with 2 beers and he's sitting there, and we're having this little talk about his feelings, and I nod my head up and I show him his girlfriend getting raped by the villain. My goodness, yeah. So this is like a no exit moment where he keeps reliving the same thing every single day without coming through to the other side. So playing the devil, I mean, you have to wrap your head around the fact that this is delightful for you watching this, and so I just felt the power of that moment of how, if he figures it out and he gets through, then he can leave, but he doesn't. So I'm going to make it more and more upsetting every single time to torture him.
Right.
That's fun.
Yahoo! That's fun.
Because I'm not doing it, not for real.
It's just a character. So you don't have a problem with dusting the characters off you once you've wrapped with it.
No, they're not me.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in all of those characters because honestly, you want to bring your most truthful, authentic self so that you can marry what the character is to you. But I mean, no, there's only been a few times. Rogers Park was hard to let go of. That character was definitely something that I can lock in and I can go straight into her at any time. I don't think I'll ever, because we worked on it for a year, improvising. Before we even got to set to start filming. Right. So Antoine and I, we helped create the backstories for those characters through improv. And then Carlos, the writer, went off and wrote the movie. So when we came back to shoot it, it was like getting back into our old, it was like meeting old friends and getting right back into where we needed to go. But for the most part, yeah. There's too many other characters to play, and I need space in my brain. I gotta get them out.
I know, that's right.
I'm getting old. I can't keep it all in there.
Yeah. You're getting better. We're getting better. One last question. What advice would you give and inspire a young person or aspiring artist, looking to get into the business? What advice would you give them?
Okay. First of all, there are enough roles for all of us. You're in competition with nobody else but yourself.
Nice.
Every time you walk into that room, you take that 5 minutes and be the star of your own show. And finally, none of us deserve any of this. Nobody is entitled to anything. This is an awesome, awesome career, and just do the things that you can control, and everything else is outside of your control.
Amen. Yeah.
I love it. That's some great words of advice. Yeah. But I tell you what, it's been great having you on the show. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
No doubt. And for Brad Stevens and
H.
We'll be back soon enough. And until next time, as always, dream big, dare to be great. We out of here. Peace.
Peace.
Ooh la la. Yeah.